Welcome to the episode 11 Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, I'm going to be breaking down Love is Blind UK Season 1, episodes 5 through 9. If you watch the first batch of this show, you know how great this show truly has been because honestly, I love it. I love the couples. I love the conversations. I love the people. I love how raw and honest these people are because honestly, it brings you back down to the early days of Love is Blind, where not everybody was there looking for a social media influencer deal at the end of the scenario. We're here looking for love. Okay, folks, episodes 5 through 9 are packed with so much stuff. Obviously, we saw not one, not two, not three, but six couples. Six couples get engaged. I love seeing that many couples get engaged because there's a lot to navigate through when you're having so many pieces to the puzzle go there. Obviously, that means you miss a lot of stuff at the same time. But here, a recap of the couples that we do have: Freddie and Catherine, Steve, Sabrina, Jasmine, Bobby, Tom, Maria, Ollie and Demi, and then of course the big question mark is Sam and Nicole. We obviously said we left off with Nicole saying she made the wrong decision and wanted to apologize to Benaiah. Could we see a little Zach Bliss Irina flip here? Yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into episodes 5 through 9 of Love is Blind UK. Nicole said she made the wrong decision, wanted to apologize. They hug, and this is the first time they actually meet one another. She apologizes about everything. He said he was heartbroken, and he said the right thing happened. But he does say he doesn't want to lose her again and proposes to her again. Well, this time for sure. Well, damn, we got another couple lined up here. We are in Greece with our couples. Everyone is smitten. And then, of course, we have a hilarious moment where my boy Steven walks out with his Speedo on and Sabrina loses her shit a little bit. It was just funny. I love these two. I love the getting to know process. Again, my favorite couple. Um, of course, Maria is interested in the meeting, saying, and Kat said she broke up with Ollie, while Ollie said it was the other way around. So this is going to be definitely spark some interesting feelings. Ollie gets brought up between Freddie and Catherine's conversation. Things get a little weird because she said he called it off in the pods, but she said it wasn't true. Let the fighting begin. He said it doesn't matter, but but she is very much a confrontational person and wants to clear the air. So if it makes it feel better, do it. Again, I love Freddie. Freddie is giving that reassurance. He's not telling her, hey, you can't have this conversation, or hey, I'm going to be upset, or I'm going to act a certain way, because this comes in a little bit later where we see a maturity level from Freddie and then somebody not so mature in a little bit. We'll talk about that later. Ollie and Demi and Ollie talk about sexy time. She said everything is going well and thinks the sex will go as well and needs to go well. He said that they're going to use their pod connections. Look, I understand and I appreciate that they're trying to keep uh, the level of pod connection together, but sometimes you gotta try the car before you buy it, type of thing. You know what I mean? If the sex is bad, it could really kill a marriage. Honestly, let's be real about it. So if you go through this whole entire experiment, you might have that emotional connection, you might have that mental connection, but the physical connection has to be there as well. Because if you don't have that physical connection, it might not work out for you. Um, Throughout this process, Catherine gets brought up. It gets weird. She forces him to say her name, which is hilarious. She is going to be weird. She said it's going to be weird when he sees Catherine. She's worried about that being his type. Here we go. Bobby and Jasmine, Sabrina and Steven are the first to arrive, followed by Ollie and Demi, Marie and Tommy enter. And then, of course, we have Catherine and Freddie enter the fold last. I love the way they dramatize this thing to make it so much more than it probably really is. But Freddie and Demi look mortified. Ollie tells the camera um, that Catherine looks similar to what he had expected. Steven said he is happy that he isn't in a love triangle. I love this, man. I love Steven. Freddie is being supportive about the chat. I love it. Real ass man shit. Catherine pulls him aside. She said she was nervous about meeting him, brings up that she said he broke things off. He said no, but he said he doesn't think it's true and doesn't remember that. He said if he did say that, he is sorry. He compliments her looks. But at first, she doesn't kind of reciprocate it and shuts it down low key. There was a weird, interesting edit here that follows with both of them complimenting each other. It was weird. It was like a weird edit. I didn't really like the edit. Was so odd. It was just weird stacked on top about it. Things get weird with Ollie and Demi. He pulls Bobby aside, and Freddie said Catherine is eyeing him left and right. He should be taking her talking to her, period, instead of just being dumb. Things get really weird. Like Ollie, instead of talking to Demi, doesn't talk to her. Freddie is eyeballing Catherine, saying that she's really eyeballing Ollie left and right. This entire dynamic is strange. As things get weird, Benaiah and Nicole have entered the party. Catherine said there tells Freddie there is a weird tension with Ollie. Freddie said he is fine, wasn't fazed by it, and is happy with her. Again, I love this grown ass man moment of being mature, of supporting his woman, doing what she needed to get done. All right, let's see here. Nicole and Benaiah get their first night in. Jasmine puts a mud mask on Bobby. It was a cute little moment. She snaps, saying Ollie shouldn't have put that on him, talking about Bobby. Ollie just dumped all of this goods onto Bobby instead of talking to Demi. And she never tells him to put her in the position and that she loved her some Demi. I will say this, Jasmine, very vocal, as we'll see later on, very much like her mother, as you'll see. But for me personally, what I loved about this is the bonds that you share in the pods with these other women. Like this is what's bonding you together. People don't understand, like, oh, the relationships and stuff like that are really strong. But yes, but at the same time, friendships. You're going through something together that is uncharacteristic. This isn't the first season. This is the first season in the UK. Sure, it's happened in Love is Blind in the US and other places, but this is the first season in the UK. So you are bonded kind of by life of this experience, especially if you get married. You know what I mean? Ollie and Demi time, he said, what was wrong with you today? She said, I should have let you know I was mad. And Ollie said, maybe it's time to go to bed. She shuts that down, saying, no, we're going to talk about this bitch. She asked what the conversation was like. He said it wasn't flirty. He said he never felt what he has for her, for Kat. Word. We move on to episode 6. We're getting some fun time with our couples here. Ollie and Demi. Ollie looks deep in thought about Catherine. He said he didn't like her being quiet. She said she struggles with the communication. He said he isn't going anywhere. Ollie said that to Demi. Freddie and Catherine talk. They talk about their best moment was walking into her together, which I really do think that was awesome. She said she annoys. He leaves. They ask one another what kind of annoys each other. She said that she's upset whenever he leaves the toilet seat up, and he tells her that he doesn't like when she sniffs around. These two are kind of cute together. I like them. Bobby and Jasmine, these two seem like they're actually enjoying the journey and trying to do things on the island, which I really appreciate it because everybody else was like cooped up or doing little small lunches, but they were actually out doing things on the island. I thought that was a big thing that stood out to me as a couple. You're trying to be adventurous on this. Maria and Tom, I've really kind of grown on them quite a bit on liking them. Stephen and Sabrina, my favorite couple. They're going get ready to go back and test the waters in London and Belfast. London and Belfast? Belfast? My God, these two, like they just better work. The gap is 10 hours between Belfast and London. So it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic works and if it's really going to work in the real world. Catherine and Freddie, they were walking the beach and he was slightly dramatic about walking on the shells. Me too, homie. Like he was dramatic, but that's how I act as well. This is where things get really interesting for me and then interesting for Freddie and Catherine. She asks, he said nothing crazy in his closet. She says she doesn't feel good enough. She said she doesn't feel good enough for him. He assures her that he loved her and she is beautiful. She asked if he trusted her and he said yes. She said, I trust you, but it will take her longer to fully trust him. She asked the burning question that if he had ever cheated on somebody, and he said yes. She didn't love that. Now, he said he's been honest about this entire experiment. He said he felt bad. She respected him telling the truth, but hard to hear him saying that because she believes once a cheat, always a cheat. That's such a horseshit comment. Okay? I'm going to go on a bit of a rant. I don't believe that once a cheater, always a cheater is a thing, because if you believe in that aspect, you're probably never going to get in a relationship, especially nowadays where there is a lot more cheating than there isn't cheating. And to me personally, the relationship that you're in has nothing to do with the relationship of your past. Are you going to compare things and want things that your past relationships didn't give you? Yes. And if that includes cheating, you're not going to want that. However, does it make you nervous? For sure. Like, I'm not saying that you hearing that him cheating is not going to affect you. However, this is Freddie. This isn't Bob. Bob and then Freddie with Catherine. You know, Freddie, this is Catherine. Catherine, not Nicole that he cheated. You know what I mean? Like these things have to be separate. You have to separate past and current relationship while also honoring the things that you want from this relationship that you didn't get from past relationships. I think it's got to be a healthy balance. I don't think she should have been so hard on Freddie in this moment. Just say, hey, that really kind of bothers me a little bit, but you're Freddie, you're not that person now, type of thing. Here comes our host. They said the physical is matching the emotional connection, and Steven says he gets wild, and then of course it was talking about him and Sabrina, while Demi and Ollie get kind of weird because they ain't getting it. Of course, they're getting ready to move in together, phones, family, more. Jasmine said she's going to kill someone if anyone breaks Demi's heart, which is hilarious. Benaiah said Ollie needs to stop letting the other couples kind of dictate and affect his relationship. Demi and Catherine are chatting. Catherine said Freddie is her guy. I love that. Demi defends her some Ollie. Like that as well. Freddie talks to Steven about telling Catherine about the cheating situation. Said it was 7 years ago, which makes me even more mad. But he said it hurt by the once a cheat, always a cheat comment. Steven said, Papa Bear, as I'm going to call him, said, it doesn't define him. Facts. Let's go, Steven. Thank you for saying that. It doesn't define who Freddie is in this relationship or in his past. He is learning from his mistakes, just like as any other guy on here is learning from their mistakes. Again, if it happens again, like shame on you. But however, if if you go into the preconceived notion of the idea that he's going to cheat on you, then it's going to be a downfall from there. Jasmine confronts Ollie, said she wasn't sure how she felt about the situation. Ollie isn't taking the confrontation very well. Jasmine says, do you like her or not? And like pushes. Bobby tries to calm her down. She wasn't having none of that. She keeps on and on and on and on and on. And like, this is my thing. Finally, Ollie gets up and walks away. But why didn't he do that from the beginning? Like, why didn't he just say, fuck off? Like, I appreciate your concern, but this is my relationship. Like, I understand where Jasmine's coming from. She's being defensive of her friend. But at the same time, it's like, look, I like Demi. Fuck off. But he didn't do that. He just kind of walks away and says, I want to go home. Ollie's upset. He feels everyone's coming at him consistently. He says, I want to go home. And he said, I should have never done this. And he says, fuck this, and leaves. The following day, he's getting to the point where it's quote unquote, is this even for us? Yikes. He did experiment. He said the experiment is becoming a hindrance instead of a positive. Everyone is packing their shit. We have 21 days until the wedding. Freddie opens up and gets a little bit emotional about his cheating. He said he wanted to be he said he wants to be this perfect person. No, he's not, of course. She said it's not always rainbows and unicorns, which I love that better than butterflies, I think, maybe. He said he wants her to trust him. He opens up, and I couldn't love Freddie more than with my guy just being emotional and being upset and being raw and showing this side of his vulnerableness that we need to see more guys being willing to show this on television. People and men of all ages should be more than okay to willingly show these emotions, whether it's to women, whether it's to friends. It's okay to be sad about situations. Jasmine already hypes up the idea of the phone situation. She says she doesn't like people being all on her phone. She says she's a very jealous person, so that should be interesting. Steven is hoping to convince Sabrina to move to London. Benaiah reproposes with a ring to Nicole. Catherine is still fucking talking about the cheating. Benaiah and Nicole be fucking, and is more or less what they told us. And they said it was good. Tom Maria talk about his phone. He said he was judgmental when he heard that she was a makeup. This was weird. So she said he was a makeup artist and it was very judgmental of this. He said he wants to live a really good life. And she said if he's going to be judgmental about her job, maybe they shouldn't be here. So I think Tom approaches the wrong way. I think he was being honest in a way that he didn't realize he was going to hurt her feelings, but also trying to say that he has expectations in life, that he likes to do things, but and he didn't think that like being a makeup artist would be able to fulfill those expectations monetarily wise, I guess. I don't know. It was really kind of rubbed me the wrong way with Tom here. I didn't feel like he came off very judgmental. And I didn't like that at all. And I know Maria didn't as well, but it was the first time I was like, Tom, bro, like, I liked you, dog. Let's calm down a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, let's calm down a little bit. Moving on to number 7 here, episode 7. Steven makes Sabrina pancakes. He's been talking them up. And then, of course, he says that once he makes them, she's going to want to marry him after this. I will say this. This is how I'm going to break down the episodes with the couples. I'm going to talk about the specific couples, kind of everything that happens with these couples, and then we're going to go from couple to couple to couple to couple, and if we have any engagement in between there for each episode. But Catherine and Freddie. Freddie kind of acts like a goofball inside the store. So they were going shopping, and Freddie's a goofball, and he just loves being goofy. And Catherine wasn't really feeling it. She kind of gets irritated by him, and she said he is taking a mick. I don't know what that means, but it sounded cool. You're taking a mick. She wants to go to the shops with him. He said, maybe I need to tone it down. No, Freddie, please don't tone it down. Never change for anyone. Other than maybe if it's getting a little annoying, you might probably want to fix that. Freddie brings Catherine to his flat. She is smitten by his home. His door wasn't fixed, which is actually funny. She thinks a woman's touch was in the place, but she said his home, it made her respect him a little bit more. She does apologize for being a little snappy. But I hate he is apologizing here for being himself. But at least she acknowledged that he had been proper bad. But Freddie walks into the room in his funeral directed outfit, and she found it very sexy. I like these two a lot. I do. Demi and Ollie time. All right. Demi and Ollie are cooking dinner for her friends. Ollie has some ADHD in the store, and it was kind of funny, but this kind of unpacks later on. It was, again, I break this down as I'm watching it, taking my notes as I'm watching the show, but she's hoping to give them the reassurance. So the next step is inviting him to meet the family. Here we go. Jasmine and James are in her friend, and they have arrived. Ollie's a vegan, which I didn't know. That's kind of cool. It is brought up the girls liking Ollie. Demi said that she felt her chemistry was stronger with him than her. Long term was brought up. The kids are brought up as well. Ollie and Demi are both on the same page about kids. The friends really kind of liked him here, and I liked the way that they stepped in the right direction. I felt like this was one of the more stronger moments between these two. He said he felt closer to her now. Ollie talks about his struggle with ADHD. Very sweet moment. Vulnerable side of Ollie. We've seen some more vulnerable sides from each of these people, but Ollie's one of those people that you don't really see that from. So it was nice to see a vulnerable side to him, which I'm sure it was nice for Demi to see as well. Let's see here. Demi is meeting Ollie's sister, and she kind of bypasses him, like to get a hug from him to give a hug to Demi, which I was really cute. His brother, mom, and dad are here. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute here. Where am I at? What am I looking at? Catherine. I fully blew this, guys. This is not. All right. Let me scroll back up here. I guess Freddie and Catherine. All right. Sorry. Here we go. Catherine is meeting Freddie's sister and family today. Her sister bypassed Freddie to give a hug to Catherine. It was kind of cute. His brother and mom and dad are there. His Down syndrome brother is there and looking as dapper as ever. It was a cute little moment. The family jokes that they guessed who and what she did, and it looks like him. His mom didn't know that they were going to get married. This is a funny dynamic that a lot of people within this experiment, when they meet their family, didn't know about the experiment or what the experiment. They knew they were going on an experiment, but didn't know what it entitled. They said they want Freddie to find some love. It was such a sweet meeting. Freddie asked Jack if he would be his best man. I about damn near cried my eyes out. I love me some Freddie. I love his mom. He was a cute baby and was a fat sumo wrestler. I don't want to skip over this, but Freddie and talking about his brother, and then obviously his brother doesn't understand the weight of the conversation that they're having, but it was just such a sweet and vulnerable moment. Again, Freddie showing this unique and heartfelt side of him. I just loved it so much. His sister pulls him outside. She feels his nerves. He's worried about him being a jokey person. He worries she's too outgoing and he would rather be inside. He says he doesn't know if he's good enough, but his sister, maybe she isn't good enough for him. Very like raw, crazy moment. But some honesty there, you know what I mean? Jasmine and Bobby, she brings up her struggles with social media and being her insecurity. She finds this old music video, and Bobby said it was all over the girl in the video. She didn't like it very much. He did say it was a couple of years ago. Why is everyone freaking out about shit that happened so long ago? Like, this is not the person I am now. Like, hey, express your vulnerability here, but like, you just search the web to find Bobby's old music video to see him all over a girl. I don't know. He says he will attempt to reassure all the time and ensure that he is doing what he needs to make her feel okay. Love Bobby. Love this moment. Very sweet. Maria and Tom. She said they are very good. It's a bit awkward. She's excited that he will meet her family. She brings up she is happy to be a Muslim, and their PDA isn't much of a thing. She said in their culture, it isn't accepted. She said, if they don't like you, see you later. And then she had to reassure that her, not them, him, not them. Him, not them. Yeah. He asked what her dad would have thought about this, and he caught her off guard. Obviously, her dad passed away. They share quite a beautiful bonding moment. Again, I'm looking for moments here between couples to see and identify if I feel like these couples are really going to make it all the way. This was a beautiful, beautiful moment. I love that he brought it up in a subtle way to just have that conversation and want to see this vulnerable side of her and then this vulnerable side of herself. Um, I loved how adorable it was that Tom was a nervous wreck getting ready to meet her family. They all embraced Tom very well. It was cute how nervous he was. They struggle with him not being a part of the culture, but and I could see that being an issue as well. She hopes her sister likes him because it would put her in a spinner. It would put a spinner in the plan. Not a wrench, but a spinner on the plan. Put a spinner on the plan. Um, He tells her sister that he isn't a perfect person. He's trying to become a better person. Their dad gets brought up and her sister gets emotional. Again, like just watching this was such a beautiful, like I had the tears rolling down my face. And she said feels good for her that her sister is opening up about her dad to Tom. Just a fucking gut-wrenching moment here, guys. I just thinking about how sweet the moment was. It was hard. We get a little bit of a grilling to the mom, to Tom. Uh, she said it was another sweet moment. He asked for a blessing if they get married, and she said she's a bit apprehensive, but that they have their blessing. She said she was very pleased to meet one another. Again, this entire like it was just beautiful, just a beautiful moment. If you watched it, you know. Unreal. Stephen and Sabrina, these two are ready to meet his brother and his mates. None of his friends or family know about the experiment at all. He talks about the news and tells them about the show. One of his friends said it was crazy and silly, said it was being with his wife 7 years before they got married. Listen, I understand your side of things, and maybe it took you that long to get married, but don't discredit somebody else's experience or love or anything like that. I love Stephen standing on business, reassuring, backing up the process and the experiment as a whole. Again, you stand on business here. He said he brought them in because he is serious, and they said he has a glimmer in his eye they haven't seen in a while. They think he's bonkers, but I love his friends though. I really did love him. Nicole, Benaiah, he's meeting her mom and dad. They have laughs about how he would hug, dap up her dad. Her father says one foot in front of the other. Her mother didn't say much other than a matter of patience. I think it went proper well between these two. I think these two are getting married. I think just lock them in. You know what I mean? We're 14 days until the wedding, of course. Benaiah and Nicole, these two are chatting. Nicole says she wants to close the chapter with Sam, but giving the ring back and the bracelet. Now, remember what I talked to you guys earlier about. What I said earlier in the episode was Freddie was very much a supportive person in saying, yes, Catherine, go close the door. Benaiah was very defensive and is kind of wild. He said, I don't think I could hold back if I saw him. Very, very weird. She wants to deal with it heads on. Again, I don't mind that, but let her be her. Let it happen. Let her close that chapter because that's an important chapter to her. If it stays open, that's going to be a hindrance in your family in the future. Maria and Tom, they talk about families. He said his mom isn't comfortable with the experiment. He wants to talk to her. He wants her at the wedding. Isn't sure she would be. She asks if it'll have an impact on that day, and he says yes. It's the mix and mingle time with everyone. Ollie and Demi are the first to show. Ollie's excited to see the faces he hasn't seen. Of course he is. Weirdo. Talking about the women. Demi seems smitten. The ladies confront her about that. They confront her about sex in front of everyone, and she gets weird and embarrassed. It was a cute little moment. I loved it. Seems like Ollie and Demi have tested the waters, even though she's like, oh, sex, we wait till sex or marriage. It did seem the way she got embarrassed that maybe, just maybe, they have tested the waters finally, which is kind of cute. Tom questions stuff like Maria said, the courtship process is kind of him paying for anything and her paying for anything. It was weird. They went out for like ice cream, and she went to pay, and he was okay with it, and he didn't understand that kind of in their culture that's not how it is. He says stuff like that kind of makes him question things. The rest of the pot squad has arrived. Catherine wants Freddie to be more affectionate towards her and isn't getting that, even though she's mentioned it multiple times. She said she wouldn't even notice. He said he wouldn't even notice if she walked past him butt naked. Freddie, I love you, man, but get your shit together. Don't say stupid shit like that, because that stupid shit is dumb. Okay, let's pause right there, brother. We need you to get your shit together. Tom is intrigued to meet with Natasha. Of course, he is. Ollie says, at this point, no other girl could catch his interest. 5 minutes later, Ollie says he loves him from Charlotte, but said there's only one person he wants to go home with. Thanks for bringing it back in, Ollie. I will say that. Natasha walks in and Tom's ears perk up. The two hug each other. Maria says it doesn't bother to see them together. I love that, Maria. I love that. I love it quite a bit. Thank you. Thank you for being mature. Sam has arrived. Mood has shifted. Steven tells Benaiah about 20 times to be cool. Sam hugs him, which is weird. Catherine is freaking out because Sam looks like one of her exes. Freddie said he thought Charlotte was attractive twice, and it made Catherine mad. This was a weird dynamic between these two. I think Freddie was like trying to get back at her by saying that because, like, all right, so Catherine said like 50 times that Sam looked like an ex. So Freddie was like, you know what? I need to say something to be smart ass back. And he was like, since Charlotte was attractive. Weird dynamic, weird things to pull with one another. Sam pulls Nicole to the side. She said in the pods, it felt like she was in the pods, but they weren't just right. He said she wanted it to be physical that night. And he said no. Every time she talked, she kept on interrupting. She said something was missing. And he said, why? Because I didn't want to be physical with you. Now, this is something that I find interesting. Okay. Nicole doesn't deny it. Now, I'm not Team Sam at all. I think Sam was not in it for the right reasons, especially when it came with Nicole. But if there's an inkling that she kind of was turned off by the idea of getting physical here, that's interesting, right? I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts about that. But I will say this, I don't care. I think Nicole is awesome, and I think Sam's a clown. Benaiah is acting a little bit of a bitch in the background. Personal feelings there. I feel like he should have acted more like a man, more like Freddie, more like Maria, and just let things happen. So she came back to him and was like, yeah, she said what she felt in the pause was with the real Sam. And he wasn't thrilled with how she said it. You can't discredit her feelings. You can't discredit how she felt in the pods. You can't see, you might have seen a version of Sam, but you didn't see that version of Sam. Okay, whether I feel like Sam's a clown or not, if Nicole tells you that her feelings for Sam and what she saw from Sam was correct, then just be like, okay, cool. We're closing that chapter, but you felt how you felt, period. It pisses me off. Catherine says when she goes out, she needs reassurance. She's a little too much to drink and somewhat flirting with Sam, which is weird. She said Sam's ring was nice. She said she liked it, like that one better than the one she has. She said if he's ever in town, she'll hit him up and hug and says, I love you. Very weird moment. I just feel like everyone's in everyone's business for no reason at all here. These mix and mingles always just spark nonsense for no reason at all. Tom's chat with Tasha. She said he was a lot more put together than she thought. He said he's a little bit of a geek and it looked like what he thought. Elle asked Maria if she cares what they're talking about. And she says, no. Again, Maria, respect. Maria, respect you. Tom tells Tasha he isn't 100% sure he's going to say yes to Maria. Tasha said she thinks he's incredible, wants him to be happy. She said she had fallen in love with him. Things got really weird. Tom said to the camera that there was a lot of unresolved connection with Tasha, and to hear her feeling so strongly about him, he said he's still in the bit on the fence on the wedding. Very weird to just come out and say that you love somebody, but not really surprised at all. Benaiah heads outside to chat with Sam. He said, your intentions were disingenuous at the cost of someone he cares about and was very uncomfortable with him. These two just keep interrupting back and forth, interrupting. He said she stayed at my house and she wanted to sleep with him. And I said, no. Benaiah laughed at the idea of this and said he doesn't appreciate how he acted. He walked away. Sam called Benaiah Hollywood, which was actually quite funny. But definitely, I don't know. I'm Team Nicole, but Benaiah and Sam are both idiots, I think. Let's see here. Sabrina and Steven are boarding flights to Belfast. Maria and Tommy asked about Tosh being there. She said she didn't mind at all. He said it was fine. She asked what she said, and he said it was more intense than he thought. He said she wanted to get off her chest and is honest about he's honest about everything with it. Really, he says being the big L. She said she dropped the L word. He said I felt uncomfortable. I'm like, did you, bro? I mean, I could say it's a little bit uncomfortable, but there was a lot of reciprocating compliments here that I don't really feel like he brings up. But Maria is not thrilled at all, and he said he's going to draw a line under it, which I appreciate. Let's be honest about that. Nicole and Benaiah I don't really know if I like Benaiah anymore. Benaiah brings up Sam saying that she tried to sleep with him and him saying no. She said, I know what happened in those 2 days and it doesn't want to talk to him about it because she doesn't want to give him that space. What a fucking weird moment. I don't know about these two anymore. Steven and Sabrina, let's talk about happiness. She said she's showing him around. He's enjoying it because it's a bit of a chill. She asked if he could see himself living there, and they said they're not rushing moving. He's going to uh, meet her mom and sister. None of them know she's engaged. She said her last relationship, she came out on the other side and was really rough. And her family was very protective. They go to Sabrina's apartment. She's freaking out. I love these two. Please work. She tells him she went on the experiment and he proposed. Her mom said, I don't remember getting a call before she can go any further. Her mom interrupts and said, like, she wanted to, like, nah, dog, I'm grilling Steven, period. Her mom tells the camera it's quick and crazy, but she hopes Steven doesn't let her down. Her mom is amazing. She wants 100% from him and wants him to dedicate himself to her. And there's nothing wrong with this. I love this. I love the dynamic. I love the conversations. I love the honesty. I love the breakdown. You don't have to appreciate the experiment. You don't have to understand the experiment, but you want to see the best from your daughter or sister or whoever's in your family. So you want to support them in their decision. You might be skeptical, but be supportive at the same time. That to me is what's important here. If you're a family member and you have somebody that goes on Love is Blind, don't act a fool. We've seen it work. We've seen it work in previous seasons. You know what I mean? There's still couples together. Does it always work? No. But be supportive and then be there if it doesn't work out. Her sister said it feels a little too perfect. She asked him why he did the experiment. He said he hates the rules of society. Mom pulls Steven aside. She gets that serious look on her face. He said he doesn't throw around the love word out much. He asks if she can fit into the family. He said right now she has a blessing so far. She tells the camera that when you see them together, they seem really happy, but her sister says in real life, or is this for TV? Damn, that's real honesty. However, back off! They need to get married. Ollie and Demi time. He's going to meet her family, mom, dad, brother, step, sister-in-law, are ready to meet. Happy dad, happy Demi. Her dad is looking him up and down, which is hilarious. He isn't into soccer, he isn't into football. And Pops isn't very thrilled with that. Her dad said he comes across as a nice guy, but if he isn't right, he will tell them. Her dad says if she's happy, I'm happy, but they both need to be happy. Ollie says having 4 sisters was a plus in growing up. It's one thing. I've been there. I grew up with 3 sisters. You appreciate certain elements of things differently when you grow up with sisters because you see the emotions, you see the things that they go through, you see it from a different perspective that really shows this honesty to each of these people. But his pops appreciated that aspect as well. Her pop said he can't find any flaws in Ollie yet. He gets a little emotional. Her dad gets a little bit emotional about the situation. I really love this moment quite a bit, honestly. Catherine and Freddie said it would be easier if you moved in with me, and he wants her to stop being so snappy and bossy. Says she's being adopted, hasn't been able to stop her from being so fierce, fiery. He says he wants her to practice for a long period of time. Says you're making me out to be a demon. She said I have to change, but I'm trying to, so I don't lose somebody important. He said this is something interesting. It's definitely conversation fluent. Freddie, I think, comes off a little bit more demanding here, which I didn't appreciate. From his aspect of things, you're talking to somebody who has spent her entire life a certain way. It's the same way I feel about Freddie being who Freddie is. You have to form yourself. It's a short period of time. You're trying to adapt. She's telling you, hey, I'm trying to fix some of these issues that you have, and you need to fix some of the issues I have. However, things get a little bit more weird when he asked her basically to sign a prenup. I can understand that from certain aspects. I don't understand or what Freddie has money-wise. It's not really explained to us, but weird, I guess, is this situation. Catherine and Freddie, some moments I feel like they're going to be locked, and then some moments I feel like they just don't even belong together. Then you had the whole thing that they were cousins, which ended up not being true. But I said it. All right, episode 9. Here we go. The final episode of this batch. We get a lot that goes down in this episode. But I said it was a tough few days because he went to Germany to his wife, or to his mom and sisters, as he was upset because Nicole had broken his heart in the pods. So he visited them post pods. Things get really awkward when she meets the mom and his sister. Nicole apologizes about things, how they unfolded. She tells them she was married before 3 years ago, which I didn't know was so close. 3 years, that's not a long time ago from jumping from one marriage to another. But I mean, she said she's been single since. Her mom asked if there was arguments, and he said mainly about the Sam situation. Benaiah still seems caught up in Sam, and even his mom and sister stand up and say, hey, bro, maybe you should shut the fuck up." You know what I mean? Like, maybe you should shut up. Maybe you should just back off a little bit. It's time to move on. They said, like, you need to move on. Everybody's telling you to move on. So move the fuck on. You know, Benaiah sits with his mom. She brags quite a bit about Nicole and says she has 100% approval. He said it's relieving that she sees the happiness in Benaiah. This reminds me again. This reminds me of Zach and Bliss. If it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it works. So if it does type of scenario. Her sister says Nicole she has a good feeling about them. Her sister brings up that he is a nomad and never know when he'll be back, which is kind of scary as fuck. Nicole tells this camera that she's worried that whether or not he can commit to the marriage, which I agree with that. Will he feel grounded by the marriage? Nomad, you're kind of going from place to place, and if he feels like she's trying to trap him into a marriage and sitting in one spot for a little while, what does that look like? How does he react to that? That to me is where things are very weird and leave outstanding underlining issues that could be future issues for them. Catherine and Freddie, they meet up with, I think, sisters, friends. Wasn't 100% sure who these people were. I don't think I got an introduction. Maybe I did. Maybe I missed it. They asked about the job. They make light of his job, but he said he loves the aspect of being there for the people. He said he wants to marry the right girl. Freddie thinks that she is a bit high maintenance. He doesn't think that it's okay because he doesn't believe he could satisfy her. Catherine gets really upset in this moment because Freddie has never really brought this up before. She said this isn't something she always does, and it's frustrating. Um, and if this was the first time Freddie's bringing this up, I don't agree with that because he has said before that he feels like she's a little uppity, and whenever she was talking about she goes to the clubs and stuff like that. But if she's telling you this is not something I regularly do, then it's not something she regularly does. He goes to get some drinks for them. She tells the girls that he wants a prenup, and they're like, "This is a bit controlling." Now let me explain something to you guys. I don't mind he asked for prenup, okay, but I think that she could have been like, I'm going to sign this prenup with the notion of, because like he was like, everything's going to go to my sister or whatever it was. But I think she's like, well, what about, 5, 10, 15 years from now? How is that going to work out? And to me, that shows to me like, hey, all right, well, maybe like, hey, after 5 years of us being married, then what does that look like for you guys? You know what I mean? Like maybe things start to shift to the prenup outlines. Maybe year 5 or year 3, or when you have kids, then things start to shift in the prenup that shifts to her getting the stuff or the kids getting the stuff or something like that. There has to be some sort of agreement there because I agree with them saying, oh, well, what about 5, 10, 15 years from now? I'm kind of fucked. What does that look like? You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, all right, I get it, right? I get it. They don't understand what a prenup is, but I feel like you could have built this around how long this relationship lasts. Catherine's mom and dad have arrived. Her family says she looks happy. The adoption is brought up. She was 11 weeks old, which is crazy to think about. I love Freddie. The lifestyle is brought up. Her dad said, "You never know the outcome." They said they feel 100% better now that they've met him. Her dad tells them, "What's in your heart is the most important." Freddie said, "Everything he feels is 100% for her." Her dad said, "Marriage is working as a team." And he's been married for 35 years and has to be open-minded all the time. I love that. Her mom said their personalities remind you of her and her dad. She said, and that was a very cute moment. I think that um, there's an element of balance of understanding that there's possibilities of fixing things to improve one another. There's a being open-minded. What he means by that is saying like, look, I want you to be better at this and I want you to be better at this, like, but you also have to understand that there's going to be things that your significant other does that you want to embrace, and you want them to, you might not like how they do it, but that's just how they do things. And maybe it rubs you the wrong way, but adapt to that. Be open-minded to the idea that these two can work out and you can work separately, but you also come together even stronger. You know what I mean? That's the type of thing that we're talking about here. She said, Catherine just says if he says no at the altar, she doesn't know if she can move past that. But she does say to the camera she wants to walk that aisle and say, I do. I love that. Loved it a lot. Jasmine and Bobby, can we talk about probably one of the most intense meetings of a mom we've ever seen on this show ever? He's meeting her mom, and her mom is quite skeptical. And he needs to tell her that. He needs to kind of reassure her that things are legit. She said that her mom would go through her phone and would call the numbers in her phone. If the boys would answer, she would block them. Her mom sounds like the truth. Her mom arrives. She enters the room. She said, "We can eat." She's like, "I don't think I want to eat." And then sits his ass down and begins to grill his ass. She brings up schooling. He didn't go to school, and she doesn't like the fact that he doesn't have a background. She literally says it's very hard or very difficult to communicate with an uneducated person. Holy shit. Like, wow. She grills him about his job and his family. She said, "I'm very much involved." And she said, "I'm your friend." And she says, "I'm her best friend. I'm her friend, and I'm her best friend you could ever have." Jasmine said, "Moving." But this is the thing. This is where I loved. This is the first time. Again, I like Jasmine and Bobby. The dynamic is interesting. Haven't been 100% sold on them as a couple yet. But Jasmine's mom is very apprehensive, very controlling. Um, Very interesting, I guess you could say the word, because to me, what I felt like was there was a controlling aspect of there that overstepped the boundaries with Jasmine. So Jasmine said moving forward, she wouldn't be telling things about Bobby because then it would make her mom form this opinion of her. And I love that because Jasmine kind of gave it back to her. And Jasmine's mom says, like, "Nah, fam, like you're gonna tell me everything." But the thing about it is if she tells her little small things about Bobby over and over again and just says these things that aren't that Bobby didn't do this or Bobby didn't do that or Bobby didn't do this, to me personally, it makes her look at Bobby in a different form. And if that's the case, then she has this preconceived notion and she's like, "Well, you got to leave Bobby. You got to do this. You got to do that." But and then she said for the future, and see, this is what I said. I love that she said this about their future and the future of their children. Love that a lot. Her mom asked her if she was sure, and she said, "I am." Her mom says, "Words of warning: be loyal and don't lie to me." Again, I loved it. I love this dynamic. Very aggressive, but in some aspects, I understand. I will say this: very um, very, I don't want to say proud, but it was a very honorable and very cool and to watch Bobby stand his own for sure and to kind of stand on his own business and try to make them understand certain aspects of things and make him, and he even said, he's like, if we get married, like she's going to have to take a little bit of a back seat, which I agree with it because this is going to be Jasmine and his marriage, not her mother's. And I agree with that aspect of things. You got to allow her to be in the picture, but you can't let her overdo things. You know what I mean? You can't let her dictate or control your marriage. I feel like he took this entire thing like a champ. Newfound respect for Jasmine, newfound respect for Bobby. Maria is meeting Tom's sisters. They're both his half sisters. Their opinion mean a lot to him. They say a lot of nice things about one another. Disagreements are brought up. Maria said she was raised a certain way and he was comfortable paying for the first date. The whole money thing gets brought up. Her culture is that the man foots the bill. The entire money thing seems to be like crushing this whole um like this entire money thing is like crushing for this relationship because she's like, "I don't want to pay for the mortgage for many years and not have any investment in means of anything. So if they get a divorce, then she has nothing." Now, I do agree with that aspect of things. Like, if you're paying money towards a mortgage and you're a married couple, like if his name's only on the lease or whatever and stuff like that, then she walks away with nothing. That's not really fair. Um, I could see this becoming an issue. Money seems to be an issue with a lot of different aspects of some of these relationships, but I'm hoping for the best here. All right. It's dress and tux time. Again, you can't help but love these moments. This entire thing, not really going to break down the entire thing. Some of the moments I loved. Jasmine's mom getting really emotional. Love that in front of everyone because it was a side of her that you didn't expect to see. Sabrina and Steven, they're the best ever. They're adorable. As the girls root for the girls, the guys root for the guys. This just makes me happy. The entire, whether they say yes at the altar or not, I love it. I love the dynamic here. I love the way they support each other. I love the way they root each other on. I love the way they show the dresses and the tuxes and all these things. Just a beautiful moment. We got final dates coming up. Steven and Sabrina, final date spot for the duo. I love these two. She feels good about the wedding, and he said he isn't nervous at all. He said he will be nervous until the vows, and then the shoes will come off, and then he's gonna bust out some dance moves. He practiced saying "I do" 3 times, like 3 times. It was hilarious. God, please, please let them say "I do." Demi and Ollie go to the arcade, which was adorable. These two are super competitive. He jokes if he loses, he'll shave off his beard and quickly changes his mind. She whips his ass over and over and over again. I've really come full circle on these two. I really love it. Benaiah and Nicole, again. Um, what again? Benaiah's like every time Benaiah says something in a serious conversation, he gets on my fucking nerves. He says her old marriage shouldn't attach her to an upcoming one. Easy to say from someone that's never been fucking married. Okay, there's going to be things that you don't. Again, it's similar line of the once to cheat, always cheat. You don't allow your past relationships to dictate your current relationships. However, things happen in these past relationships that you don't want in your current relationship. So these things are always going to be in the back of your mind when you're forming these relationships. When you're doing this, you're going ready to into a second marriage with somebody. You want to ensure that this is your final marriage because you go into a marriage thinking this is going to be my only marriage. So it's not like Nicole thought 5 years ago, whatever, or 3 years ago, that she was going into this marriage and it was going to be shitty. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what it was. But like I said, he's been single for 11 years. He's 33. He hasn't been in a serious relationship since he was in 22. So, like, has he ever been in a serious relationship? Like, who are you to be giving advice to somebody about anything at all? Whew. Tom Marie neither feels nervous. Her brother is going to walk her down the aisle, which is so cute. And then Tom comforts her as the dad gets brought up. God, just again, another couple. Like I feel like they're there, but I don't know. I don't feel confident in saying that they're going to get married. I don't know yet, guys. Catherine and Freddie, these two are doing pottery together. It's quite hilarious. She brings up the dress, said her mom's jaw hit the floor. He brings up his buddy, saying that he had never seen heard him say that he loved anyone and she loved that. I really like Catherine and Freddie. Like I really do. Like I really I don't know. I just really want these two to get married, but also don't know if they're gonna work. Jasmine and Bobby, we've gone from like don't be liking girls' Instagram to the mom roast to me liking these two. Like I've come full circle on all these two. That means next week we have the weddings, 2 episode finale. It's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. But before we go, I want to drop here what my predictions are on who says yes, who says no. Let's start off at the top, okay? Steve and Sabrina, yes and yes. 100%. If they don't say yes, I'm going to be sad. I'm going double yes here. All right. Let's go Ollie Demi. I'm going to go double yes here too. Was very skeptical, very convinced that it's going to happen. Jasmine Bobby, double yes as well. Tom Marie, I'm going to say Marie says yes, Tom says no. Very convinced that that's going to happen. Benaiah Nicole, I'm going to say double yes, but I'm optimistic about that one. And then Freddie and Catherine, she's going to say yes, he's going to say no. So I think that we end up with Steve and Sabrina married, Jasmine Bobby married, Ollie Demi married. And I think that's, yeah, we're going to go 3 for 6. No, and Benaiah Nicole. So I think we're gonna get 4 weddings out of the 6 couples. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below and who you think is going to be saying yes at the altar. Love is Blind UK has been very mature. I've loved it quite a bit. Love to hear your thoughts about it. Let me know in the comments below. We'll be back next week dissecting the finale.